Hey everyone, Pugs here with just one new review for y'all because today I'm covering our second special episode of the season, A SquarePants Family Vacation. Yes, oh yes, just like last season, we are back to another anthology of episodes, this time SpongeBob's Runaway Road Trip. It's ever so slightly less coherent or consistent than the Legends of Bikini Bottom, but there are still very clear connections between each of the episodes a part of this anthology, and I just love that. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let me bring it back and say that, as always, thank you all for watching the video today. Y'all know I appreciate ya. And now, let's just get right into it. I gotta say, I am stoked about A SquarePants Family Vacation's chosen focus on the SquarePants family. Last time there was any substantial focus on SpongeBob's family was season 5, which I low-key consider the season of exploring SpongeBob's family, but anyway, the point is that it's been a while, so this kind of episode is long overdue. I also adore that this episode considers Patrick part of the family, which is a kind of dynamic that I love to see, best friends being adopted into a family dynamic. And then something else I suppose I can say in this introduction is that I always forget that this is a special. I'm not sure why, I just forget that little fact every time I think about this one. I know a lot of people complain about this whole running bit of the vacation episode starting with a slideshow that is then never brought up again, but I like this whole gimmick. I don't think it really needs to be revisited, it's just something to connect every episode beyond just the fact that they are vacation themed, just like the title sequence of the Legends of Bikini Bottom anthology. So I won't really mention these slideshows too much during the reviews. They range from being a little long, like this episode, to being just fine. I do like how this episode shows a bunch of characters getting this invitation, showing both their interests and how much SpongeBob knows them. I mean, y'all know I love when this show flexes its ensemble cast. But also, in a way, it's almost like this episode is expecting a new audience, and so is quickly introducing all the main characters, plus Larry. Seriously, at this point, they need to just make him a main character for the number of times that they include him, especially when they include him and not other main characters. Anyway, let me move on to the actual episode now, since this slideshow section is almost like an introduction scene. So, y'all know how I'm not really a fan of Patrick being included shit for no reason? Yeah, well, you can forget about that for this one, because I actually really like his inclusion here in this episode for the reasons I said earlier about treating friends like family. Like, it's just very wholesome to me. Patrick is such a friend to SpongeBob that he's considered part of the family. Isn't that great? Considering how shit this friendship has been done as of late, I really needed something like that. This is a very simple episode, which is one of the reasons I think that I always forget that it's a special, because unlike most specials, particularly by this time in the show, this episode doesn't involve a lot of characters, nor does it involve any relatively higher stakes than what we'd normally see in an episode. It merely features a longer runtime. Anyway, the episode truly begins with the family driving to the Great Barrier Reef. This drive is a little bit boring, but there are some good parts, like SpongeBob's dad, whose voice I find funny, or the part where Patrick suddenly gets on the windshield. That plus the bit in the mall was good. I also thought the road song was very fun, probably the best part of this whole scene once we finally get there, since it is near the end of it. Of course, this wouldn't be a road trip episode of a sitcom without something going wrong, and so while the family is singing, the car catches fire because, yes, we get a couple of good gags out of this scene, and eventually the family is able to push the car to a service station slash rest stop. I liked this part of the scene where SpongeBob and Patrick run out into what I'm choosing to call a Krabby reference. It's not, but I'm gonna call it that anyway because I can, and doing so amuses me. The actual scene of the two playing on the nasty ass play equipment is okay, not really much for me to say here, I'm just barely engaged, but things get much more interesting once the duo get themselves into a Trenchbillies-like situation. And see, you'd think that this means that I'd have a lot more to say about this episode, but I kinda don't. The plot gets even more simple as SpongeBob and Patrick explore the new environment that they found themselves in and get chased by a giant fly thing. The wiki calls it a fruit fly, so I guess I'll call it a giant fruit fly. There's some jokes here that land pretty well, like the live action vending machine was great. I definitely laughed at that one, and the tourist trap joke I don't know why I can't say that word, tourist trap joke, where SpongeBob ends up spending all of his money was fantastic as well. It also reminded me of Gravity Falls. How nostalgic. There's also a ton of cool backgrounds and creature designs in this part of the episode, which is always a win in my book. The escape from the giant fruit fly thing was also entertaining and fun to watch. We then get the reprise of the Road song and SpongeBob and Patrick getting back to Harold and Margaret. And I love how at first they just ignored the car so they could jam to their reprise of the Road song. And I love how the best friends realized that this whole adventure that they just had was exactly the vacation they wanted. It tired them out too, which allowed us to end on a great joke from Harold here that just reminds me of my own parents interacting. I thought A SquarePants Family Vacation was a good episode. It's not particularly spectacular or anything like that, but I had a good time watching it. Did it need to be a special? No, but I fear this episode was a few seasons too early for 16-minute episodes to become somewhat of a staple again, because I think that 16 minutes would have been a perfect length for this one. It would have allowed it to pick up the pace a little more, which could have fixed some of the issues with long stretches of little happening and few jokes. Because those moments are largely what dragged this episode down, and the rest was like pretty good. And so that is why this episode is going in my great tier, where it comes in with a score of 8 out of 10. As always, I'll be ending this video with some closing thoughts of mine. Man, it is so nice to be at this anthology series. It might not be quite as nostalgic as The Legends of Bikini Bottom, but it certainly brings back some good memories. I mean, for one thing, the series inspired one of my absolute favorite SpongeBob Flash games, Oh Snap Road Trip. Like, that game was my shit back in the day. I loved it so much. Getting all the special photos, man, I just like spent so much time doing that. And I miss that game like every day. Um, I know that there's sites that you can play it on now, but the game is kind of broken, so it's just not the same. Oh well, not everything can come with you as you grow older, I suppose. Okay, well, I didn't mean for this to become so solemn and melancholy. I wonder if this is an indication that I've been thinking about this kind of stuff. Who knows? That's a question for my therapist, not for y'all. Anyway, uh, this review is very short. I apologize. The last one was short. I thought it would be like the shortest one ever, and then this one was even shorter because there's very little to say about this episode, like really and truly. Um, so hopefully I won't make a video this short again. I just like feel bad when it's this short. Anyway, I don't think I actually have anything else to say. So I guess it's best if I end things here, right? And so I suppose that I will see y'all in the next review.